Greetings once again. This is Rabbi Aaron Boxt. I'm back with my podcast. Um, I know that if this seems to be all over the news, so of course I'm going to continue talking about this in my podcast this week. This is my thoughts on Israel versus Hamas, the war going on in Israel slash the Gaza Strip in the Middle East. Once again, so this would be the second one in a series. I want to begin by saying what I believe to be is not something that I cannot believe I'm having to say these words because there's people out there that actually think differently from me, and that is the killing of anyone, woman, child, man, adult, older person, whatever, is not okay. It's not great. It's miserable. And it's catastrophic for those who knew that the people who loved them, who were part of their family. All of that is important to start out with. The loss of life in any situation is not good. But there's a lot of misinformation, and I do mean misinformation, out there right now that's being put out by people who just don't seem to have the historical background or knowledge or wherewithal. I'm not really sure to really put the information out there, or the information that they are putting out there or that they're seeing out there is incredibly skewed and misrepresenting of the truth. Truth is, from the outset, the land of Israel, the biblical land of Israel, the modern day of Israel, has been in Jewish hands for over 2,000 years. It is not debatable. There is historical, archaeological proof of this in the Dead Sea Scrolls, in ancient Bibles and other writings, in coins, in stelae, in all kinds of archaeological evidence that is out there. So anyone that thinks off the bat that Israel is colonizing Israel, that Jewish people are colonizing Israel, is not or is averse to the idea of accepting history. That's first. Secondly, and just as important, there are Palestinian Arabs, Muslims, Christians that have been in the land of Israel or the Gaza Strip or in the West Bank for hundreds of years, generations. They also have a tie to that land. But their tie to the land is no more or less important than the tie of the Jews to that land. I want to put that out there. I want to say, look, the Jews have a tie to the land. The Palestinians, the Arabs, the Muslims, the Christians, they have a tie to the land as well. Anyone who questions or debates those 2 points off the top is not accepting history. Okay, let me get that out of the way. It's out of the way. When you're talking about a situation in which there is a destruction of people, a catastrophic destruction of people, I'm talking about people, innocent women and children, and men as well, being kidnapped or brutally murdered, terrorized in front of their family members by terrorists. That is not okay. On October 6th of this year, there was a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. On October 7th, hundreds of Hamas terrorists went into Israel into the sovereign land of Israel, and killed, maimed, terrorized, tortured, brutalized hundreds and thousands of Israelis. And now there are 240 still hostages, Israeli hostages, being held by Hamas. This is not in debate. This is absolute truth. One who denies that fact, and I'm seeing lots of things online, videos online of people who are going and tearing down these kidnapped signs all over the country because these people think that they're not true. That's a denial of truth, and we should stay away and avoid that completely. If you see someone tearing down a sign that says that people are kidnapped, say what you have to say and then walk away, because those people don't understand, and nothing that you say or do will change that. They are denying the facts on the ground. Yes, say your piece. Make them aware of what the truth is and then walk away. We don't need to have more violence on top of violence. It's not necessary. Israel is now, according to some people, a lot of people in the United, not a lot, I'll say some people in the United States, more people than should, as well as other countries around the world, are now calling for Israel to declare a ceasefire. Let me tell you why that would not be a good idea. If Israel declares a ceasefire, Hamas then goes back and recuperates and is able to get more weapons and more guns and build more tunnels and be able to terrorize more Israelis, more Jewish people in Israel, more Christian people in Israel, more Muslims in Israel, because, by the way, there are many, 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 many Muslims and Christians also that live as Israelis, Israeli Arabs. Okay? Hamas will then continue to build and build and build so they can do this again. Hamas is actually saying now that they are going to do another October the 7th, the next day, and the next day. And they're going to keep doing this until the land of Israel ceases to exist. We are talking about millions, 9 million Israelis who are Jewish, Arab, Muslim, Christian, and Druze, who will be pushed out of their home. That's what would happen if Israel declared a ceasefire. If Hamas declared a ceasefire, we would have peace. If Hamas really wants to have peace in the Middle East, there are a few things that are required. Number one, release the more than 200 hostages. You don't need them, except that they are bargaining chips for you to bring the rest of the world, quote unquote, on your side, so you can stand behind them. Secondly, let your people who are innocent in the Gaza Strip, let them go to the place where they can get freedom and safety. Israel has created two places for humanitarian relief, safe places for the Gazans to go to, and Hamas is blocking their way by destroying roads, by destroying other ways of getting out, and by not allowing their people to go. That is a Hamas problem, not an Israel problem. Second. Thirdly, just put your guns down. Stop hiding behind your own people. Israel is not fighting a war against a country. Israel is not fighting a war against an organization that has any kind of ethic or ethical responsibility. They are not fighting against a quote-unquote organization that is abiding by the rules of war. They are fighting against a terrorist organization which wants nothing more than to destroy the entire country of Israel. It is in the Hamas charter. A very good friend of mine, another colleague, Rabbi Daniel Barnahum, sent and shared with me and my other colleagues some information. And I want to read some of this. But Rabbi, what do I say if I hear? Quote, ... If you come across folks shouting from the river to the sea, you should know that this means, without any caveat, the elimination of the state of Israel from Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. Most Jews and Israelis are in favor of a negotiated two-state solution leading to a Palestinian state alongside Israel. Hamas is not. They seek to eliminate Jews from the Middle East and then the world. They believe that the Jewish presence sullies the land and that nothing but eliminating the Jews will cleanse it. If you come across folks shouting that Israel is committing genocide, you should know that the Palestinian population has increased dramatically since 2000. Since the year 2000. Words have meaning, and genocide means something specific. The plan to or actions leading to the elimination of an entire group of people. This is not Israel's goal. However, eliminating the Jews is explicitly called for in the Hamas charter. If Israel is working to eliminate a group of people, it's doing a terrible job. As Jews, we have learned throughout our history that if someone says they want to kill us, we have to take them seriously. It hasn't always been the case that we had the capacity to protect ourselves. We do now, and that is the number one reason why Israel is so important. If you hear folks claiming that Israel targets civilians, you should know that the IDF has told civilians to leave. The Israeli soldiers have made more than 20,000 phone calls to people living in Gaza. Not only does Hamas prevent them from leaving, sometimes killing them if they try, but Hamas builds bunkers and military installations under residential areas, schools, and hospitals, which is itself a war crime. This is the definition of human shields. You hear that Israel is committing war crimes? You should know that if that were to happen, Israel has a judicial system that holds soldiers accountable should they commit a crime. Hamas has no such mechanism. Do we want a ceasefire? A ceasefire sounds good. Who wouldn't want the war to stop? But it also means Hamas still has its weapons, thousands of missiles aimed at Israeli civilians, and a terrorist infrastructure that can and most certainly will commit another atrocity like October 7th. Hamas also has the option to lay down its weapons and recognize Israel as a nation. If it does, the fighting stops. Israel didn't break the last ceasefire. That was Hamas on October 7th. My friends, those of you that listen to me on my podcast, those of you who are interested in learning what it's like to live in this world as a rabbi, as a Jewish person, let me tell you something. To see people having to pull mezuzahs down off their doors, to hear about college students who are being beaten up left and right for supporting their homeland, to see an old man get beaten down just for being Jewish, to see a colleague who has to spend his Saturday afternoon at a congregant's store cleaning graffiti, swastikas, and other Nazi graffiti off of their stores in 2023. This is not okay. Don't get me wrong. I want Israelis and Palestinians to live in peace. I want all people who live in the Middle East, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Israeli, Arab, you name it, whatever. I want all of them to live in peace. But Israel cannot and will not stop defending its people and its right to exist as a country. Remember, we've been there for over 2,000 years, and we're not going away any time soon. You can count on that.